How's it going, everybody? This is Alex Borak from Inbox 25, Marketing Automation Made Easy. Thanks for attending today's webinar, Understanding Matching Settings on Automated Campaigns. At the end of the webinar, there will be a short Q&A. If at any point during the webinar you have a question, just throw it in the chat bubble. I'll get to as many as I can, and any questions I don't answer, I'll follow up in an email following the demonstration. Today's webinar is being recorded live and will be up for further viewing on our knowledge base as well as on our YouTube channel in the near future. So with that being said, let's get right into it. So with Inbox 25's robust automation engine, there are almost limitless possibilities with workflows. Picking the right matching setting is just as important as leveraging the right data, managing an appropriate weight connector, and executing the correct actions. Workflow logic is key, and it starts from the very first step, selecting the right matching setting. So let's talk about the three types of matching settings. So for the three matching settings, I'm going to use an analogy of condition blocks A, B, and C. So to clarify, for each example, the record will be located at condition block B. Condition blocks are separated by action blocks with weight connectors. So first, we have your current condition matching setting. This setting only looks at the current condition block a record is in. If the record meets the criteria for the condition block, then they will be moved through the workflow. So if a record is in condition block B and they meet the criteria for that condition block, they will be moved to the next workflow, to the next condition block. Once they get to condition block C, now the system only cares about condition block C. Next, we have progressive conditions. The progressive condition matching setting is a little different from the current condition. Not only does a record have to meet the criteria for the current condition block that they are in, but they also must meet their criteria for any previous condition blocks that they have passed through. So, for the analogy, if a record is in condition block B, they must meet the criteria for condition block B as well as A. If they meet the criteria for both, they'll be moved into the next phase. Once they get to condition block C, now the system cares about A, B, and C. Finally, you have your smart campaigns. Smart conditions will be the massive bulk of your workflows. With smart campaigns, the system continuously checks to ensure that records are meeting the criteria for condition block A. So, once again, we have a record that's in condition block B. With a smart campaign, the system cares about the current condition that they are in, for this example, B, but the system will always care about condition block A. If the record meets the criteria for condition block B and continues to meet the criteria for condition block A, then they will be moved through the workflow. Once they get to condition block C, now the system only cares about C, as well as will always continue to care about condition block A. If the record meets the criteria for condition block C and also continues to meet the criteria for condition block A, then they will continue through the workflow. So let's talk about how to properly use each matching setting, and then we'll move into the demonstration portion, and I'll actually put together some workflows based upon the types and benefits of using each matching setting. So first you have your current condition. So if you're looking to do a basic campaign with one condition block, maybe just a simple landing page conversion and then assigning the record and alerting the agent. Some other examples you can use are just simply adding a record to a target list based on the data you'd like to leverage, or maybe a single send email action. Or a great use case of the current condition is setting records to active or inactive based upon the data that you'd like to leverage. For progressive conditions, these are more for really honed marketing processes. You will likely want to use the progressive condition as a matching option if you are not leaving any room for profile changes for your automation workflow. Any profile change that relates to a condition in your workflow will result in an early ending for that record. Now for smart campaigns, as I mentioned, this will be the massive bulk of your workflows. Any workflow that you can imagine that a status change will take them out of a workflow and possibly put them into another workflow is a great and excellent use case for the smart conditions. So with that being said, let's get right into the demonstration. So first, as I've been explaining current, progressive, smart, I'm going to do it in that order. So I'm going to put together two good examples of using automated campaigns for current condition. So for this example, I'm going to use one of the bullet points in the presentation of setting a record to an inactive status. So for this workflow, I'm going to say any contact with status of recycled put to inactive. And we'll make this a current condition. So for this example, I'm going to be leveraging a data field, which will be the lead source. And in my lead source data field, I have an option that equals recycled. So if lead source equals recycled. And let me spell that correctly. Great. So now make sure, if you're using the equals operator, make sure that the data you're inputting, for instance, recycled, matches exactly with the status change within the Sugar CRM or the marketing list that you'll be using. For this example, I'm using a CRM list, but this workflow can also be recreated using a marketing list. To learn more about using marketing lists, please visit our YouTube channel or knowledge base to view our webinar that we presented utilizing marketing lists. So moving right along, if the lead source equals recycled, what would I like to do? Well, since this is a very simple one-step workflow, I'm just going to configure my wait connector for 1 minute, and then I'm going to select the change status. And we're going to change them to inactive. Add that action, and end the campaign. So as you can see, a great use case of current conditions are a simple one condition block to a simple action phase. Now let's do one more with the current conditions just to show you the wealth of workflows you can do with current conditions, and also to demonstrate that although the possibilities are limitless, you do want to make sure you are picking the correct matching setting when making workflows. Let's do another one where if lead converts on landing page, convert record. Now, this is going to be an interesting workflow because it's going to have a lot going on in the Sugar CRM. So for this example, if let's say the Rodney Dangerfield survey was a successful conversion, we'd like to convert the record. Now, with the convert record action, Sugar CRM typically sees data management in this fashion. When you get a new prospect, you put them into the prospects or targets module of Sugar CRM, depending on the version that you have. Then, as you qualify them a bit further, you'll turn them into a lead. Once the lead is qualified yet further, you'll then turn them into a contact/account. So because I'm targeting the leads module, and my landing page is also mapped to leads, as someone converts on my landing page, they will be converted to a contact/account. What this means is basically the lead has been qualified to a certain extent of which I like to put them into the last phase of my marketing strategy. So once again, simple workflow, landing page conversion, convert the record. So I'm going to get out of this, and now I'm going to go through an example of progressive conditions. So for this one, this is going to be a very specific marketing process, and I just want to take a minute to explain it before I set it up. So for this example, company XYZ has a form on their site. And one of the form fields for the landing page is mapped to a data field within Sugar CRM. Now this data field is going to be a key identifier to my company that an email is required to send to the individual after they convert on my landing page. Now, if the individual does not open my email within, say, 5 days, I like to update the data field that was populated from the landing page to a different status. I'd like to add them to a target list of people who also have a similar status, and then I'd like to set up a call in Sugar CRM. Then I'd like to wait a little time. Now, if the call was not held or /n has a call temperature, which is a custom data field I created within the calls module of, say, cold, this is going to be a key identifier to my company that this lead has run its course and they will not be purchasing from our company. So I would no longer like to have them in our marketing automation platform. So this is how I'm going to go ahead and set that up. So to name this, I will say 3-step nurturing path. And we'll make this a progressive condition. Oops, and we'll select my leads. So to set up the first condition block, it's going to be someone who converts on my landing page and we'll add one more condition, and I'm going to leverage that data field I was mentioning, which is going to be the key identifier using the status. And just to switch it up, we'll use the contains operator. Now, just a quick note, when using the contains operator, if you were to put in something simple like EM, the contains operator is not case sensitive as opposed to the equals operator. So please be careful when using the contains operator, because if you're doing the status field contains EM, any and all records that have the letters EM together, whether it be capital or lowercase, will be pulled into this workflow. So I have made sure in my database that these conditions are met and that only specific status changes are going on. So I'm going to erase that, and we're going to say status contains interested. And we'll just name this has status of interested. So what would I like to do first? Well, first, I got to choose whether I'd like all of my campaign conditions to be met or any. Since this is going to be a very specific marketing process, I need all to be met. We'll make this 1 minute. And then first, we'll assign the record. And we'll assign it to Jane Doe. And then we'll alert the record owner via email. And then finally, we'll go to send that email. Now the email has been previously created, so I'm just going to go to edit message, which is a failsafe that Inbox 25 forces you to do if you're going to be using previously created emails, which takes you to the email builder. Oops, that shouldn't have happened. Let's try that again. And we'll go to next step and just finish this up. make sure 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, this email will be sent out, and then we'll add that action. Now, we need to continue building on this. So now we're going to add a condition. Now, I like to give records 1 week to open this email. So now, if they do not open my email, what would I like to do? Well, as mentioning, I'd like to update a status field. And we'll do lead membership equals recycled. Then I'll add one more action, or rather 2 more actions. The first being adding them to a target list. And we'll add this to the nurturing target list. And we'll do one more, and we'll set up a call. And now, this is very similar to the call fields that you'll see when setting up a call within SugarCRM. So we'll do call lead to gauge interest. And we'll have this start in 1 hour with a status of planned. We'll do it from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Monday through Friday, which I've deemed the best call hours for my staff. We'll make this a duration of 30 minutes, and they can do max calls 5 per day. So please call lead and make the change of not held if call was not successful. Put additional notes below. And we'll add that action. Now, we'll add that final condition block. This time, we'll wait 3 days. And we're going to leverage calls and the status. If the status equals not held, and we'll do call not held. And we'll do one more condition. As I mentioned before, I did make a custom field within the calls module. So if the call temperature equals cold, then that would be it for this record. So we'll add that final action. And we're going to change them to inactive. So there you can see a very, very specific marketing process from start to finish. So last but not least, I'll show you an example of a smart campaign. So smart campaigns, really basic and really easy use case for them would be nurturing. So nurture new leads. And we'll make this one a smart campaign. Now, I'm going to make this a really easy one. If they convert on Fly and Luxury with Jetstream Corp, then I would like to put them into my content stream. So I'll add some content. We'll finish and save. Great. Now, with the content stream, you can add as much content as you like, whenever you like. No need to pause the workflow. You can pause or play the content within the stream whenever you'd like. You can set time-sensitive expirations if you'd only like the email to go out for a certain amount of time. And then most importantly, you set the delivery interval. So for this one, we'll do once per week, every Wednesday at 10 a.m. sharp. Now, just to make the demonstration a little quicker, I'm just going to have one content. Now, really simple workflow. But with this, the record will always be going through the workflow without any sort of status change happening. So what do? Really simple. You'll add another condition. And let's just say we'll do anyone in the U.S. And we'll add one more condition, and data field, we'll do lead source and equals new. So for this one, just to show you the wealth of conditions you can attach to make a smart campaign also very specific. So if they convert on the landing page and they're located in the US and their new lead, put in the content stream. Now, how do I take a record out of the content stream if I've discerned that they've had some level of interest and I do not want to continue sending them unnecessary emails? What would I do? Very simple. You're going to react to the content stream and take them out through an automated workflow. So clicked email 1, change lead source to nurture. So we'll do the campaigns condition, and we'll select the campaign, and we'll say clicked any. So clicked a link in the email, and we'll add the condition. And then we'll add an action after 1 minute, and we'll update the field, that same field of lead source, to nurture. So because the previous workflow was a smart campaign, as soon as the system picks up that this email was opened, they will change the status to nurture, and that will take the record out of the content stream workflow. So there you have it. Real great example of how to use the smart campaigns. So that would conclude the presentation for today. I have some frequently asked questions. And while I go over the frequently asked questions, if you have any other questions, feel free to pop them into either the chat or the questions bubble. So some frequently asked questions are, Alex, can a record be moved through a workflow more than once? And the answer is no. A record can go through a workflow once and only once. If you would like a workflow to go through a similar workflow, what you'll simply do is clone the existing workflow, pause the old one, and play the new one. The record will then be moved through the new one. Another question is, can I include a status change of set to active as well as set to inactive in the same workflow? Once again, the answer is no. We only allow you to have one change status action inside of a workflow. If you would like to make a record active and inactive based upon marketing processes, it's best to break this up into two workflows. The first one being setting them to active, and then the second one setting them to inactive once you are done with them. The final question is, Alex, with progressive conditions, what happens if the status changes? Well, as mentioned before, if any of the conditions in a progressive workflow previous to where a record is located are not met, then the record will end early within that automated workflow. If you'd like them to be able to go through the entirety of a workflow, make sure that the workflow logic is structured in a way that will allow them to go through the workflow without any sort of profile changes necessary. So I'll give it a few seconds to see if there are any other follow-up questions. If not, then I hope everyone has an excellent weekend. And once again, our webinar will be up for further viewing on our YouTube channel as well as on our knowledge base. All right, I don't see any further questions, so that does it for me today. Once again, this is Alex with Inbox 25, Marketing Automation Made Easy. Have a lovely weekend and look forward to our future webinars that will be going on in the next coming weeks. This is Alex signing off.